So good morning everyone and welcome to today's lecture. I hope I am audible and visible to all of you. We are dealing with friction and this is lecture number 2 in friction. What did we do in the last class? Can you tell me what did we discuss in the last class? What we were discussing in the last class? Do we remember? Do we recollect?
Kinetic friction and angle of friction, sir.
We were discussing friction. We were discussing kinetic friction. That is correct. And I think we had seen the angle of friction. How do we calculate the angle of friction? Tan theta. It is the frictional force divided by normal reaction. And I given you a question to solve. What about that question? Did we try it? So let us start the class with the same question. I have a block of mass 5 kg kept on a horizontal floor, and this time around I have friction. It is a rough floor. It is moving with a velocity of 10 meter per second. You have to find out the value of frictional force. You have to find out the normal reaction force. You have to find out the angle of friction, and you have to find out the value of normal reaction. Have you done this question? No? No? Then do it now. If you've done this, then tell me the answer. No one has done this? I give you 5 minutes, do it. I hope you know how to do this. I hope you know how to find out the value of normal reaction. Yes or no? You know this? We have done it so many times in the past. You just need to remember it. How did I find the value of normal reaction? Find out the value of normal reaction. Find out the value of friction and you are done. I know that you know it. No one knows it? Shall I do it? Okay. So how are we supposed to do this? I need to draw the free body diagram. The weight of this block is 50 newtons. Normal reaction is like this. You must understand that this block is not going to move in the y direction. If it does not move in the y direction, I can write the equation along y-axis. It is in equilibrium along y-axis. So the equation becomes normal reaction becomes 50 newtons. In the previous question also, we used to find normal reaction. Here also, we have found out the value of normal reaction. Once you get the value of normal reaction, the body is moving forward with respect to ground. So you can understand that the frictional force, which is opposite to the direction of relative motion, would be backwards. So the frictional force would be backwards. Fk. How do I find the value of Fk? We had already seen the formula for Fk. Kinetic friction is equal to mu k times normal reaction. I just need to put the values here. So the kinetic friction will be mu. Mu is 0.2 multiplied by the value of normal reaction. I have already got the value of normal reaction as 50. You can see it here. You can see it here. You can see it here. So this gives me the value of frictional force 0.2 multiplied by 50. I think that would be equal to 10. 10. That is the value of your frictional force. Then you need to find out the value of theta. Theta is the angle of friction. You can find the value of tan theta by two ways. You can divide Fk by n. You divide Fk by n, 10 by 50. You will get 0.2. Actually, you did not have to do that much. We have already seen that this tan theta is always equal to mu. So you can straight away write it in the different way. Tan theta will always be equal to mu, the value of kinetic friction, the coefficient of kinetic friction, and that will be equal to 0.2. So I've calculated that. What remains is to find out the value of R. How do I get the value of R? We know the formula for this reaction force R. This reaction force R is Fk square plus N square. I've already found out the value of Fk. That is 10 square plus 50 square. So that will be under root of 2500 plus 100, 2600. You can write it as 10 times root of 26. So these are the answers for the different questions. Anyone got these answers? Okay. You can also find one more thing here. Find the acceleration of the body. We can also do it here. Find the acceleration of the body. That is the last thing that could be asked. What is the acceleration of this body? Now, to find out the acceleration of the body, you have to draw the free body diagram. I have already drawn the free body diagram. The only force which is acting on this body is the frictional force. Do we understand this? Yes or no? The only force which is acting on the body in the horizontal direction, because vertical direction forces are equal. In the horizontal direction, the only force acting on this body is the frictional force. So this frictional force, because of this frictional force, the body will have acceleration. The frictional force is in the backward direction, so the body will have acceleration in the backward direction. The body is actually moving in the forward direction, but because of friction, the body will have acceleration in the backward direction. And because of this acceleration, some people call it retardation. Because of this acceleration, or as people say, retardation, the body is moving forward, but acceleration is in the backward direction, the body is going to stop. How are we going to find out the acceleration of this body? How are you going to find the acceleration of this body? Anyone? The only force acting on this body is the frictional force, which is backwards. Acceleration of the body, therefore, would be backwards. How much is the acceleration of this body? Anyone? So to find out the acceleration of this body, I will have to equate the net force. The net force is in the backward direction, and the net force is Fk must be equal to mass into acceleration, because that is the only force acting on this body. So I can write the acceleration of this body will be Fk divided by m. In the backward direction, remember the kinetic friction is 10 newtons divided by 5. So the acceleration will be 2 meter per second square. In which direction? In the backward direction. 2 meter per second square in the backward direction. There is one more shortcut way of finding out this acceleration. There is one more shortcut way of finding out this acceleration. We know this Fk is equal to mu into n. We know this Fk is mu into n. We also know that this n is mu into this n is equal to mg. So you can write this frictional force as mu times mg. You can write this frictional force as mu times mg. So mu times mg is equal to ma. From there also you can cut this m and you can write this acceleration as mu times g. So that becomes the shortcut formula for finding out the acceleration. Either you can find out the frictional force and then divide it by the mass, you will get the acceleration, or since you know the calculations done here, you can simply multiply mu by g and you can get the answer for the acceleration. So if you multiply mu by g, mu is 0.2, g is 10, multiply 0.2 by 10, you will get 2 meter per second square. That is the acceleration of this body in the backward direction. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Everyone understands this? Okay. Let me give you one more question so that you can do it on your own. I will ask you to find out all these things. Remember, in the examination hall, you might not be asked to find all these things. You might be only asked to find out the acceleration or the frictional force. But I will give you one question where you can find out everything so that you are confident enough of doing it in the examination hall. So let me start with this question. Question number 1 for today. I have this body. Let us say the mass is 2 kg and it is moving forward with 5 meter per second. The surface is rough. The value of mu k is given as 0.5. You have to find out these things. Find out number 1, normal reaction. Number 2, frictional force Fk. Number 3, the angle of friction. Number 4, the reaction force. And number 5, the acceleration of the body. You have 2 minutes to do this. Once you are done, please let me know.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
n value equals to 20.
Okay.
R value equals to 10 root 5.
Okay.
A equals to 5 meter per second square.
5 meter per second square. Okay.
Fk equals to 10.
5 meter per second square. Okay. ठीक है.
Fk equals to 10.
Fk is equal to 10.
Theta equals to 0.5.
Tan theta is equal to
Tan
0.5.
theta equals to 0.5.
Correct. That is correct. Everyone got the answers? Okay. So here we go. I draw the free body diagram. This is 20 newtons. This is N. The frictional force would be backwards, Fk. Now let us not waste any time and they can write the equation straight away. You can look at this N and you can look at this 20. So your normal reaction simply becomes how much? Your normal reaction N becomes 20 newtons. Straightforward, the first answer. Now, to get the value of Fk, you just multiply mu k, which is 0.5. 0.5 multiplied by 20, and you get your frictional force as 10 newtons. That is the second answer. To get the value of tan theta, you don't have to do anything. Tan theta is simply equal to mu. It will be equal to 0.5. To get the value of r, you can take it under root of 10 square plus 20 square. To get the value of a, this acceleration is net force Fk divided by m, or you have a shortcut also. It will be equal to mu into g, and that will be 5 meter per second square in the backward direction. Do we understand this? Yes or no? But there are other sets of question also that can be asked here. Everyone got up till here? Yes or no? Boys? Understand this? Okay. Now, once you get the value of this acceleration, then there are next questions that follow. Two questions in particular that can follow after this. So they can now ask you, find. So see, this body is moving forward. But as you can see, acceleration is backwards. Yes or no? This acceleration is backwards. The body is moving forward, but the acceleration is backward. So what will happen? This body is going to stop somewhere. Yes or no? The body is going to stop. That is the next question. Find the time taken to stop and the distance traveled before stopping. How much it will travel before stopping, and after how much time it will stop. So I'll give you 2 more minutes to do this. It's a simple question with a simple answer. Shall I do it? So how are you going to do this? To do this, you will have to go back into the first chapter. What are the things you have to remember about the first chapter? 5 meter per second is given. That becomes your initial velocity. Do we understand this? 5 meter per second is your initial velocity. So your u, initial velocity, becomes plus 5. Why I'm calling it plus 5? Because everything in this direction, I call it as positive. So your initial velocity is plus 5. What about your acceleration? How much is your acceleration? You have just calculated the acceleration. Your acceleration is also 5, but it is in the backward direction. So I will call it minus 5. Do we understand this? Now, the body is going to stop. If the body is going to stop, you can tell me the final velocity v is going to be 0. Yes or no? Because the body is going to stop. The final velocity is going to be 0. You know u, you know a, you know the final velocity is 0. How can you calculate time? You can apply equation number 1. V is equal to u plus at and get the value of time from here. Your final velocity is 0. Your initial velocity is plus 5 plus your acceleration is minus 5 into t. From there, you can get the value of time, and the time would be 1 second. So it will stop after 1 second. Next, you have to find out the distance or the displacement of the body. To find out that distance or displacement, you have used this equation to find out the time. You can find out the distance or displacement using this equation, equation number 3. V square is equal to u square plus 2 times acceleration into the displacement. Do we remember this equation? Your final velocity is 0. Your initial velocity is 5, so 5 square plus 2 times. Your acceleration is minus 5 multiplied by displacement. From here, you will get the value of displacement, and your displacement would be equal to 5 by 2 plus 5 by 2. That means it will go forward and then stop. So these are the answers that you can get, out of which what are the questions that you can expect in the examination hall. In the examination hall, they might ask you the value of A, they might ask you the value of the frictional force, they might ask you the time, and they might ask you the distance. The other things are not very likely to come. Do we understand this? Everyone has noted this down, yes or no? Okay, then I'll give you one question, and I hope you can give me the answer for this one. This is a rough surface. A 5 kg block is moving with a velocity of 10 meter per second. The value of mu is given as 0.4. You have to find out the acceleration of the body, time taken to stop, and the distance traveled. Remember, it is moving in a straight line. So I ask you distance or I ask you the magnitude of displacement, it is going to remain same. Give you 2 minutes to solve this. Anyone with an answer?
A is equals to 4 meter per second.
A is equal to 4 meter per second square. Okay, what about the next one?
T is equals to 6, sir.
6 seconds. How it can be 6 seconds? No, it's not 6 seconds. Okay, distance. Time is not correct. Time is time. How can it be 6 seconds? How did you get 6? Shall I do it? Shall I do it? Yes or no? No one is able to do it? Okay, so this is 50 newtons, this is N, and it is moving forward, so frictional force is backwards. The first thing I can find out is the normal reaction. Normal reaction is 50 newtons. Then I can find out the value of frictional force. 50 multiplied by 0.4, 20 newtons. Then I can find the acceleration of the body. 20 divided by 5. That will be 4 meter per second square. I know the acceleration. 4. I know the initial velocity as 10 plus 10 and minus 4. I can apply the equation v is equal to u plus at. Final velocity is 0. I put the values. 0 is equal to 10 plus acceleration is minus 4 into t. Calculate this, you will get time as 2.5 seconds. How did you get 6? Okay. Do you know how to solve this? Yes or no? Anyone knows how to solve this? Anyone knows how to solve this? Yes or no? Okay. So time is 2.5 seconds. Then to find out the distance, I can apply v square is equal to u square plus 2 times acceleration into delta r. This is 0. U square is 10 square, which is 100, plus 2 times acceleration is minus 4 multiplied by r. Displacement will be minus 100. 100 will go on other side, divided by minus 8. And you will get 100 divided by 8. You can solve 100 divided by 8. 25 divided by 2. That is the answer for your displacement. And the previous one, 2.5 seconds is the answer for your time. Is it so difficult for you to do it? Yes. Is it so difficult? I say something. Do we understand this? Okay. Write down the solution. Let me know once you are done.
Done, sir.
So this is the next question that I am making for you. So now this is the question that I have made. A block of 5 kg is kept on a rough surface, and I've applied a force of 20 newtons in the horizontal direction. It is a rough surface, so the value of kinetic friction, the coefficient of kinetic friction is given as 0.2. You have to find out, number 1, the value of Fk, and number 2, A. What do you mean by A? A is the acceleration of the body. So you have to find out the frictional force acting on the body and the value of acceleration of the body. Remember, here I have applied a force 20 newtons in the forward direction. Give you 2 minutes to do this. It's a simple question. I hope everyone is discussing the question. Great. 2 minutes you have. Yes, anyone with an answer?
Acceleration 2 meter per second square.
Acceleration is
2 meter per second square.
2 meter per second square. How did you get 2 meter per second square? How did you get 2 Newton per 2 meter per second square? Okay. So this is 50 newtons. This is normal reaction. Where is this body going to move? The the force is in the forward direction. So the body is going to move in the forward direction. That is why your frictional force would be in the backward direction. I can first understand the value of N, the normal reaction. The value of normal reaction is 50 newtons. Then I can find out the value of frictional force. How much is the value of frictional force?
Ten newtons.
10 newtons. Great. Now to find out the acceleration, You cannot divide this 10 Newton by 5 because that is not the only force. There are two forces acting on the body now in the horizontal direction. One is 20 Newtons like this, and the other one is 10 Newtons like this. Do we understand this? This force is 20 Newtons, and on the back side you have 10 Newtons. So you have to find out the net force. What is the net force? In the forward direction, the body is going to move in the forward direction with an acceleration A. In the forward direction, the force is 20. In the reverse direction, the force is 10. 20 minus 10 should be equal to mass is 5 into acceleration is A. From here, you will get the value of acceleration, and you are going to get the value of acceleration as 2 meter per second square. If this is the way you got 2 meter per second square, then you were correct. If you just multiplied mu by g and got it as 2 meter per second square, it was wrong. But your luck, since both the answers are coming same, your luck was strong enough to give you that answer. But don't believe on luck. Anyone did it this way?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you have done it this way, then congratulations. You have done it nicely and correctly. I'll give one more question for everyone to do it. Do it fast. This is a 2 kg block. I've applied a force of 20 newtons here. The value of mu k is 0.2. Chilling out in the class. Only girls are hardworking. And it's a shame for all the boys in the world.
Fk is equals to 4 newtons.
Fk is equal to 4 newtons. What about the acceleration?
8 meter per second.
8 meter per second square. That is absolutely correct. Well done. Congratulations. This is 20 newtons. Normal reaction is upwards. We have done it so many times, so you can now say normal reaction will be 20. The force is applied in the forward direction, therefore friction would be in the backward direction. Now you can straight away calculate the value of friction. Normal reaction is 20. So how much will be the friction force? 20 multiplied by 0.4. So the frictional force would be 4 newtons. Do we understand this? So now we have, well done, 20 newtons in the forward direction and only 4 newtons in the backward direction. Obviously, it is going to move in the forward direction with an acceleration A. How do I find the value of this acceleration? 20 in the forward direction minus 4 in the backward direction. That must be equal to 2 times A. From there, you can get A as 8 meter per second square. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Well done. If you have done this question, that means you have understood the concept. Once you know the value of acceleration, they can ask you how much distance it will travel, this, that. Once you know the value of acceleration, you can apply the equation v is equal to u plus at or v square is equal to u square plus 2as, and you can get the required answers. Let me now change the question. And give you this one. Now, this is a general question that I have made without giving you value of m and theta so that you can solve it in the general case. So you have a block of mass m kept on an inclined plane at an angle theta. The coefficient of friction between the block and the inclined plane is mu or mu k. You have to find out the acceleration of this block. Remember, when there was no friction, when the surface was smooth, the acceleration was g sine theta. Do you remember it? When it was smooth, the acceleration was g sine theta. Do you remember it? Now you have to find out the acceleration when it is not smooth. The value of kinetic friction is mu k. So you have to tell me the answer when it is not smooth, when it is rough, and the value of kinetic friction, the coefficient of kinetic friction is mu k. You have 2 minutes to do this. I hope everyone is trying. I just had to show you this case. This is the case that we had done where the block was kept on a smooth inclined plane. When it was kept on a smooth inclined plane, the acceleration was g sine theta. Do we remember it? The only difference between this question and the question that we are doing now is that there is friction between the inclined plane and the block. So if you remember this answer, you will have to also remember the answer that we get in this case. In this case, the answer was g sine theta. Have you written the notes of everything that I've given you? So I hope this case number 4 would be in your notebooks. Yes or no? Okay. So now comes the case where this floor is not rough, but it has friction, and the value of the coefficient of kinetic friction is given as mu k. Now you have to give me the answer. I'll give this question as homework because I think the time is over. So how are you going to do this? Exactly in the same way as we had did that part. Remember, there was only one force in that case, that was mg sine theta, which was going down. Now the case is a slightly different one because we also have friction coming into the picture, my dear friends. So keep that in mind, solve the answer and give me in the next class. I will be waiting for your answers, and probably in the next class we would be done with friction once and for all, and we might move on to the next topic, which is a lot easier than this one. And now the easier part begins. So I'll see you in the next class. Take care. God bless all of you. Bye bye. If you have any doubt, you can always ask me. Take care.